I thought you forgot me.
No, I'm just slow.
Well, you forgot me yesterday, didn't you?
What happened yesterday?
Check your calendar.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll play this next year. That's okay. You know,
Oh, but I mean, on the good side is that reminds me that Mom's birthday is soon. So, you know.
Yeah, Tuesday, and don't forget.
Oh, yeah, that was the one. Well, shoot. Well, happy birthday. How are you feeling?
How neglected. No, feeling good. Feeling good. It was a good slow day. Did nothing. Watch football, watch baseball.
Hey, you get to watch football and baseball again.
Yeah.
So,
well, the baseball last night was fantastic. I don't know if you caught it or anything. You need to see this. The last play of the game, the Dodgers were up 1 run. They were winning 7-6 in the bottom of the 9th inning. There were runners at first and second, 2 outs,
now, 2 strikes. Home. Jansen, that is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles, but the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it.
What's up? Slides in the home. Game's over. So the Rays win 8-7. It was bizarre. Really bizarre.
Oh, those are fun.
Anyway, so I every now and then you catch a good one. So yeah. What's the status regarding COVID precautions in Chicago? Are people wearing masks? Are they doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, there's 2 Chicagos.
At least.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen this winter because there's different poor sides of town, right? Yeah. And again, this is mainly a poor people's disease. Not to joke about it, but I do because I joke about everything. So I'm not sure how that's going to fare. It was all the spikes and everything were on the south side where it's poorer. Poor people don't go to the hospital in any case, much less now. And then, of course, all the stuff is more cramped. Yeah. I told you about the this was the
she's popping.
Oh, hey. Hello. You popped in there. Oh, you popped away. It's the squirrels. The evolution of squirrels in Chicago.
Okay.
Between the gray squirrels and the brown squirrels. Now, the brown squirrels are more woodland-y type squirrels, and the gray squirrels have adapted to more a city living kind of thing. Yes. So they actually found out like the brown squirrels dominate the north side, the richer side, the whiter side, and the gray squirrels dominate the south side, the poor side, the blacker side, because on the poor side there's less trees.
Yeah,
and just how that worked out, it was extraordinarily stark, the differences and kind of thing. It was just this odd kind of thing. But it's up here, like in my neighborhoods, we're still pretty close to each other, but for the most part, everybody keeps their distance. So I haven't been to the south side, and of course I haven't been there.
So do you have brown or gray squirrels, or both?
We're the brown squirrels. So
you're the brown squirrels, huh?
We're brown squirrels. So there's some gray squirrels up here. We're in the middle, still close enough to downtown, but no, it's everybody's wearing a mask, and you get a dirty look if you don't, which is good. And for the most part, people in my neighborhood, it was gentrifying anyway, so most people are working remotely. I'm on the border of the west side, which is the brown folk, not the black folk, but the brown folk. And they're less remote workers and more like industrial workers. And I don't see them wearing masks or doing anything like that. I don't know what they're doing. It's kind of interesting. But I haven't looked into the number spikes there. Of course, it's spiking everywhere, especially as it gets colder and people move indoors. So they did redo the the bars are closing again. The restaurants, I think they're going to limit indoor restauranting. That's going to be interesting because just like in Louisville, there's a ton of restaurants and they're all going to close. And, a goodly portion of the economy up here is with restaurants and tourism, and that's all going to close. So, so it's going to be a tough winter.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. We're looking at the same thing now. In Kentucky, and particularly in Louisville, I think we've done better than most of the country, but we're hitting spikes now. Up to 1,400 cases yesterday, which is a lot for us. And I think, there is a point that we're seeing more cases because we're doing more testing. I mean, it's a pretty obvious thing, but it's also the number of positives, the rate of positives is going up. And I don't know what it is nationally, but it's getting in the 4% range here, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're
that was all predicted, and it's the same like with the flu. We can't do anything with the flu that we've had for 40 years, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we had scheduled a trip to French Lick, Indiana, to the hotel and casino up there. We were planning to go. Well, we were planning to leave tomorrow, and the news from Indiana is so bad. We thought, gee, the weather report calls for rain. We'd be inside the hotel all day. We don't know who the service people are there or what precautions they're taking, and so it scared us away. I hate to put it that way, but it's I don't want to take any chances. Because I have diabetes and heart condition that would kill me if I get it. I don't have any doubt about it. So anyway, it's
they have built out. They're popping up more and more public places that are a little safer to be. So especially with all the remote worker people, is you can go to like these warehouse type office places where you can go in and you're 10 feet away from people, and they have the big HVAC systems and all these things, which is great. And that's for the people who can afford it. And then, I don't know what everybody else is. They don't really have a choice. And especially with winter coming, I mean, where are they going to go? And Chicago was expensive, so I don't know. Well,
it's almost always been a crime to be poor in America.
Oh yeah.
And I worry about that. That's kind of the sad thing. I had scheduled to do some volunteer work at the St. John Center, which is a center for homeless men downtown. And I was all set to do it a couple of months ago, and I just decided, I can't do that. I can't. Right. If I thought I could save lives, and have not place myself in an imminent danger,
sure,
that's one thing. But I worry about. I worry about infecting other people, for one thing.
Sure.
But I wish this damn disease would make your face turn green or something. I really do. I wish you could somehow just see it, because it's amazing when they talk about distances. And not to strike too close home here, but if I'm around a smoker, I can be affected by that smoke 20 feet away.
Sure.
And it stays with me for 2 days. It just doesn't go away. And I think, well, if that's smoke, those are fairly large, ash particles.
Sure.
If this is the coronavirus, I could be walking through clouds of this crap all the time and never know it.
Yeah.
That's sort of what's scary. We occasionally have folks come over and sit on the porch, and we're at least 6 feet away from them. but still, I think, man, if I'm around them very long and one of them happens to be infected, I'm probably going to get it. It just goes everywhere. So I don't know. I was talking with Marcia about it. I think we need to be adjusting ourselves to this as a permanent condition. I mean, the cliche is the new normal, but this is going to be normal for some time to come. It's not going to go away. It's kind of like the election coming up. Trump's not going to go away, so we can beat him, but he's still going to be around. He'll still be tweeting, still be holding rallies. You're not going to stop it. He'll still have people supporting him. So you have to sort of learn to cope with what is, not just be in denial all the time. So we're trying to adjust it. We would really like to get away for vacation, and I just don't know where to go. We're thinking about a cabin up in the mountains right now. Like we went to Pine Mountain last fall, and we're thinking about going back there. But once again, you walk into a situation with strangers, you don't know what the status is of that place. So anyway.
One, you should be recording when we first start.
I am recording.
Oh, good. There's always little gems here, and I was like,
well, part of this is I hope will be a time capsule, so you can. Yeah, I don't know. These are all. I'm glad what you're saying, and I hope other people are at least thinking the way you do. I know when I watch people talk, not have conversations with friends, but watch people talk. They're off. Who knows what's going on with them? But like the important things of, again, like the new normal, like even if we have a vaccine, which is still another, hopefully a year away, you never know with those things. I think if the entire world puts their mind to it, a year is a reasonable expectation. But then distributing it and getting it working and doing all those things, it doesn't happen miraculously. So, it's 2 years of hunkering down. And then, and of course, we've all been warned, like, one, we have to make sure we're not dealing in fear. Like, it's easy to think of the worst thing in the world, right? And the worst thing in the world is like, well, after we cure this, another one's coming. And there is truth to that. Another one is coming, and we've always been warned. There's millions of them coming, and they're just never going to stop because that's nature. But also, it's not going to be as worse as we think, but we can't wish it away either. It's one of those things. So it's like, we do have to adjust. And then, the saying is, a recession is when your neighbor is out of work, and a depression is when you're out of work. So the pandemic, but it's really hasn't affected enough of the people who matter. Ironically, it's affected, it seems, at least it's reported, more people on the right than on the left. I honestly don't know how that breaks down. I mean, I think what you're saying about poor people is certainly the overriding factor, people who don't have options to socially distance, for instance. But among the people in the brown squirrel district, the people who get it are more likely the ones on the right who, for whatever reason, I mean, people like Mike Pence, who's supposed to be in charge of the whole damn response. His chief of staff just tested positive. And those people have a disincentive regarding wearing masks and keeping distance that overrides their common sense. What it reminds me of is Humphrey Bogart in the movie The Treasure of Sierra Madres. The final scene is he's hanging over a cliff. Somebody's got a hold of his hand. He's hanging over a cliff. In his other hand, he's carrying a bag of gold. And he won't let go of the bag of gold. No, even though, the guy says, I can't lift you up unless you let go of that bag. He won't let go of it. And it seems like that's true for a lot of people. They say, well, I can't give a, even doesn't even have to be a bag of gold. It could be a trip to the bar or going to the ball game or whatever it might be. I can't give that up. Well, yeah, to church, particularly, I hear Marcia saying, that this is just more important. Well, you're not making that decision for yourself. You're forcing that decision on somebody else when you don't wear your mask in public and you don't do that. You're infecting them. There seems to be kind of a cognitive dissonance of some sort.
I'm curious about that because one thought is, at least in the cities and big cities, the poor people and the rich people are closer together.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to the poor people is of a more immediate threat to the rich people in the cities because they're right over to the other side of the lawn. Out in the country, they're a little further away.
Right.
And they don't think they're poor for some reason. That always blew my mind. But then there's also the I don't know if whatever the story we tell ourselves out in the country, that they're more they have more solidarity out in the country. And I don't know if that's actually true. But
certainly less diversity.
Maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
You think everybody's the same because they look the same, and you're trained to look at looks and not actions, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's an interesting phenomenon right now, because the places that are spiking right now are rural areas. I think North Dakota.
And that might just be a timing thing too, because the first spikes were in New York and Seattle, and they went crazy, and it was very scary and very shocking and very immediate. And there was a heavy response, mainly because they were still rich elites, but they weren't whack jobs, and out in the country, it took a little longer. Maybe that was it. If you gave yourself time to give yourself an excuse, you did.
Yeah. Well, people who may have been a little disturbed about it in the beginning and didn't see, they said, well, that's happening in places like New York and
in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not affecting me.
Yeah, it's not affecting us directly. So they let their guard down, and then, they do things. I think, the folks who are forcing the schools back open.
Right.
That's a lot of red states who've done that. They just said, well, the kids have to go to school. We can't give it up. You don't see a lot of kids coming down. Well, there are a lot, but proportionally, there are not that many children coming down with COVID. But they're bringing it all home. So you send your kids, they gather it and bring it back to you. That's been the case with flu for years. When I was teaching school, I was always afraid I'd pick it up from the kids. I remember when I was teaching a computer lab, I used to have a can of Lysol and some sanitizer, some Clorox wipes and so forth, and I'd wipe everything down between classes because I didn't want to catch it.
Yeah.
And if sometimes if the kid was needing help and I had to go to his keyboard, I'd wipe his keyboard over before I touched it, because the diseases fester in those places.
Right. I remember when I played Santa at the zoo. I never had been more sick in my life.
I can imagine. All these little rugrats.
And of course, you're talking about the kids being sick too. It's like, well, they're going to get sick, and one, they're healthier than me. They got over it. It took me weeks.
Yeah, they got it. Well, I'm not sure how this is probably going to be the big issue now for the folks, for those people who must be hiding in a cave someplace who are undecided about this election.
I don't believe
this could be a deciding factor. I'm not sure how to, we talked about this last week. I'm not sure how to predict this. I don't think we're going to know the winner for some time, because I don't think anybody's going to have a clear victory on election night. And many of the states, Pennsylvania in particular, don't allow the votes to be counted before election day, which kind of silly for me. But the whole process this time, unless Biden can have just a real runaway, the whole process is going to be brought into question.
Mm-hmm.
And my my fear is that the reaction, one way or the other, is going to heighten the corona outbreak, because when people get together to scream and shout, they're going to huddle together. They're going to go inside, or they'll be in very close knit crowds. And so it could be, you go out to protest and you're taking a risk of your life doing it because of the spiking virus cases. So it's going to be an interesting week.